Venezuelan swarm attack. 75 Venezuelan speedboats armed with Russian missiles swarmed toward USS Gerald R. the largest coordinated small boat attack in modern naval history. 8 minutes later, Venezuela has no navy. This is how American technology turns suicidal tactics into target practice that proves swarm attacks cannot overcome superior sensors and automated weapons systems. Venezuelan Navy commander announces plan to challenge American carrier presence near territorial waters. State media broadcast propaganda about asymmetric warfare defeating American imperialism. Russian military advisors promise their anti-ship missiles on small fast boats will overwhelm carrier defenses through sheer numbers. The math seems simple. 75 boats cost less than $10 million total, while American carrier costs $13 billion. If even 5 boats penetrate defenses and deliver weapons, the attack succeeds strategically regardless of losses. The calculation ignores one critical factor. American defensive technology evolved specifically to defeat exactly this threat profile through sensors that track hundreds of targets simultaneously and weapons that engage multiple threats faster than human operators could manage manually. Navy Power TV takes you inside the engagement that demonstrates why small boat swarm tactics fail against modern American carrier strike groups with comprehensive defensive systems and operational doctrine refined through decades of asymmetric warfare experience across multiple theaters. USS Gerald R. operates 60 miles off Venezuelan coast, conducting routine flight operations. The carrier strike group includes 4 Arleigh Burke destroyers positioned in defensive screen around the carrier. SH-60R Seahawk helicopters maintain continuous airborne patrol scanning surface approaches with advanced radar systems. This defensive posture represents standard operating procedure for carrier operations near potentially hostile coastline. American commanders anticipated possible Venezuelan response, but dismissed small boat threat as manageable nuisance rather than serious danger to carrier operations. Which American defensive system proves most effective against speedboat swarm? A. Helicopter gunships. B. Destroyer guns. C. CIWS Phalanx systems. Comment your answer below. The Venezuelan speedboats launch from hidden positions along coastline in coordinated wave. Each boat carries 4-man crew and Russian-supplied Kornet anti-tank missiles, adapted for anti-ship role. The boats reach speeds exceeding 50 knots heading directly toward American carrier. Venezuelan commanders believe speed and numbers will allow some boats to reach weapons range before American defenses eliminate entire force. This tactic worked against slower vessels with limited defensive weapons in regional conflicts. The tactic collapses against American systems designed for threats far more sophisticated than speedboats with shoulder-fired missiles. The SPY-6 radar aboard USS John Finn destroyer detects the entire boat formation at 40 kilometers range. Automated tracking systems assign identification numbers to each contact and calculate speed, course, and time to weapons range. The Combat Information Center displays show clear tactical picture of approaching threat with computer-generated engagement recommendations that allow commanders to authorize defensive response with single command rather than individual targeting decisions for each boat. This is the sensor fusion and automation advantage that turns complex multi-target scenario into manageable defensive problem. Stay with me because what happens next reveals why automation and sensor integration create defensive capability that manual systems cannot match when facing saturation attacks designed to overwhelm human decision-making capacity through target density and compression of engagement timeline. American helicopters armed with M240 machine guns and AGM-114 Hellfire missiles move to intercept at maximum range. The helicopters engage from 5 kilometers distance where speedboat weapons cannot reach them, but American weapons easily destroy their targets. Hellfire missiles track individual boats through laser guidance systems. Each missile impacts speedboat, creating catastrophic explosion that kills crew instantly and destroys vessel completely. The helicopters cycle through targets methodically. 40 boats destroyed in first 3 minutes by helicopter attacks. Venezuelan formation loses more than half its strength before getting within sight of American destroyers. Navy Power TV shows you the brutal effectiveness of airborne anti-surface warfare when attackers lack air defense capability and defenders possess precision weapons with overwhelming range advantages that create one-sided engagement where only defenders can shoot effectively. The remaining 35 speedboats continue toward carrier despite catastrophic losses. Venezuelan crews show courage, but courage means nothing against technology that kills before you can fight back. American destroyer guns engage at 15 kilometers. The 5-inch guns fire GPS-guided munitions that adjust course during flight to impact moving targets with precision impossible for unguided rounds. Each gun fires 3 rounds per minute. 4 destroyers engaging simultaneously means 48 rounds per minute, raining down on speedboat formation. 20 boats destroyed in 90 seconds by destroyer gunfire. Venezuelan attack collapses into chaos as surviving boats scatter, attempting to evade incoming fire. American fire control systems track each boat individually and assign targeting priorities automatically. Human operators merely authorize engagement, while computers handle complex calculations required to hit maneuvering targets at extreme range. How many speedboats can one Arleigh Burke destroyer engage simultaneously with gun systems? A. 5 boats. B. 12 boats. C. 20 boats. Answer at end. The 15 surviving speedboats somehow reach 5-kilometer range from carrier. This represents closest any hostile vessel approached American carrier in over 20 years. But proximity means nothing without ability to deliver effective weapons. The speedboats attempt to launch their Cornet missiles at maximum range. Most missiles fail to acquire target locks due to American electronic warfare corrupting their guidance systems. 3 missiles achieve lock and launch toward carrier. Those 3 missiles face the final defensive layer, specifically designed to defeat exactly this threat. CIWS Phalanx systems aboard carrier and escort vessels engage the incoming missiles. 6-barreled 20mm Gatling guns fire at 4,500 rounds per minute. Radar-guided targeting tracks missiles automatically. Tungsten penetrators shred missile bodies in mid-flight. All 3 missiles destroyed at ranges exceeding 1,000 meters from carrier. 0 hits achieved despite 75 boats and hundreds of Russian-supplied missiles. The Venezuelan Navy just ceased to exist as functional force. Quantity versus quality reaches definitive conclusion when quality includes sensors tracking hundreds of targets, automation managing engagement sequences, and weapons engaging faster than human decision cycles allow. Comment Q for quantity or L for quality. American helicopters pursue fleeing speedboats. Venezuelan crews attempt to surrender, but most boats are destroyed before crews can signal capitulation. Some boats beach themselves on Venezuelan coastline attempting to escape. American helicopters follow and destroy beached boats to eliminate future threat. Total engagement time from first detection to last boat destroyed: 8 minutes 14 seconds. American casualties: 0. American vessels damaged: 0. Venezuelan casualties: approximately 300 killed. Venezuelan boats remaining: 0. If you believe swarm attacks cannot defeat modern American defensive technology, type Navy Power TV right now. Venezuelan government claims victory through propaganda stating they forced American carrier to cease operations. The reality: USS Gerald R. Ford resumed normal flight operations 60 seconds after last Venezuelan boat was destroyed. Carrier never altered course or speed during entire engagement. Flight operations never paused. The Venezuelan attack achieved absolutely nothing except eliminating their own naval capability and demonstrating complete inability to threaten American vessels. Russian military advisors who planned this attack must explain to Venezuelan leadership why their tactics and weapons proved completely ineffective. Russian doctrine emphasized overwhelming American defenses through cheap platforms with advanced weapons. The doctrine assumed American systems would be overwhelmed by target density. The assumption proved catastrophically wrong when American automation and sensor fusion allowed engagement of far more targets than manual systems could handle. The strategic implications ripple across multiple regions where adversaries consider similar swarm tactics. Iranian fast attack boats in Persian Gulf, Chinese maritime militia boats near Taiwan, North Korean infiltration boats. All these forces trained for similar tactics, believing numbers overcome technology. This engagement proves definitively that swarm tactics fail against modern American defenses, regardless of numbers employed when defenders possess comprehensive sensor coverage and automated weapons engagement that eliminates human reaction time bottlenecks. Navy Power TV examines the technology advantages that created this one-sided outcome. SPY-6 radar provides detection and tracking capability that earlier radar generations could not match. Automated fire control systems engage multiple targets simultaneously without manual intervention. GPS-guided munitions hit moving targets at ranges where unguided rounds would be ineffective. Helicopter mobility allows engagement beyond range where boats could threaten surface vessels. Electronic warfare defeats missile guidance systems. CIWS provides last-ditch defense that nothing penetrates. This layered defense in depth creates redundancy where each layer must fail simultaneously for attacks to succeed. Venezuelan planning assumed some boats would penetrate through gaps in American defenses. There were no gaps. American doctrine emphasizes overlapping engagement zones precisely to eliminate gaps that adversaries might exploit through saturation tactics or coordinated attacks timed to compress engagement windows. The automation aspect deserves particular emphasis as a revolutionary capability that changes defensive warfare fundamentally. Human operators cannot track 75 targets simultaneously while calculating optimal engagement sequences and managing weapons release for multiple systems. Computers excel at exactly these tasks. American investment in automated combat systems creates capability advantages that manual systems cannot match, regardless of how well-trained the operators might be. Which technological advantage proved most decisive? Radar range, automated fire control, or weapon accuracy? Drop your assessment below. Technology supremacy confirmed. Arleigh Burke destroyers can engage approximately 20 surface targets simultaneously with gun systems thanks to automated fire control and GPS-guided munitions that require minimal human intervention beyond authorization. That's the answer to our quiz. Automation multiplies defensive capability beyond what manual systems achieve, even with superior weapons. Can adversaries develop tactics that defeat American automated defenses? Current evidence suggests no within relevant time frame. Automation improves continuously through software updates and artificial intelligence integration. The defensive advantage grows with each system upgrade, while offensive swarm tactics show diminishing returns against increasingly sophisticated automated defensive networks. What's next for Venezuelan naval capability? Essentially nothing. Rebuilding requires years and resources Venezuela cannot afford under current economic conditions. More importantly, any future Venezuelan naval developments will be monitored continuously by American surveillance and can be destroyed preemptively if threats emerge. The failed swarm attack eliminated Venezuelan naval capability for foreseeable future, while demonstrating American defensive superiority to every nation considering similar tactics. The operational lessons from this engagement inform broader understanding about effectiveness of asymmetric warfare tactics against technologically superior adversaries. Small boat tactics work effectively against vessels with limited defensive weapons and manual fire control systems. The tactics collapse against automated systems with comprehensive sensor coverage that tracks all threats simultaneously and engages them faster than human operators could coordinate manual responses. Venezuelan planners apparently studied successful small boat attacks from past conflicts without understanding how dramatically American defensive technology evolved beyond systems that proved vulnerable to swarm tactics in earlier engagements. The cost-benefit analysis for future swarm attack planning becomes extremely unfavorable after this demonstration. Venezuela invested approximately $10 million in boats and weapons that achieved zero results while losing entire force in 8 minutes. Future adversaries considering similar tactics must justify investments in platforms and weapons that American defenses destroy effortlessly before they can deliver any effects against intended targets. The economic calculation shifts dramatically when defensive technology makes offensive tactics economically unviable regardless of courage or tactical skill of attacking forces. Regional powers observing this engagement recognize limitations of asymmetric warfare against American carrier groups. Iranian fast attack boat tactics in Persian Gulf face same defensive technologies that eliminated Venezuelan boats. Chinese maritime militia swarm tactics near Taiwan encounter identical American systems. North Korean infiltration boats attempting attacks on American vessels can expect similar outcomes. This Venezuelan engagement demonstrates comprehensively that small boat tactics with short-range weapons cannot succeed against modern American defensive doctrine and technology. The psychological impact on potential adversaries exceeds tactical lessons about specific weapons' effectiveness. Nations considering conflicts with American forces must factor reality that their most creative asymmetric tactics will prove inadequate against comprehensive American defensive capabilities refined through decades of counter-asymmetric warfare experience. Venezuelan attack represented well-planned operation with capable weapons operated by trained crews. The attack failed completely. If well-executed swarm attacks cannot achieve even minor successes, what tactics could possibly work against American carrier groups? The answer increasingly appears to be none with current technology available to regional powers. The automation revolution in naval warfare deserves recognition as a fundamental shift in combat capabilities. Previous generations of naval combat required human operators to identify targets, calculate firing solutions, authorize weapons release, and guide weapons to impact. Modern American systems automate most of these functions, allowing engagement of far more targets in compressed timeframes than manual systems could manage. Venezuelan swarm attempted to overwhelm human decision-making through target density. American automation eliminated the human bottleneck, making target density irrelevant when computers track and engage hundreds of threats simultaneously. Subscribe to Navy Power TV, where elite naval power meets cutting-edge technology, proving automated defensive systems and sensor fusion create capabilities that defeat swarm attacks, regardless of numbers, through precision engagement and overlapping defensive layers that eliminate gaps. Adversaries need to achieve successful attacks against American carriers and strike groups. Superior fleets. Advanced weapons. Hit notification for more analysis showing why American naval dominance extends to asymmetric warfare scenarios, where technology defeats tactics and automation overcomes numerical disadvantages through speed and precision. Impossible for manual systems to replicate regardless of training or experience levels. The future of naval warfare belongs to nations that invest in automation, sensor fusion, and comprehensive defensive integration, rather than nations pursuing quantity-based strategies hoping to overwhelm through numbers. American lead in these technologies continues expanding as artificial intelligence and machine learning enhance automated systems with capabilities that will make future swarm attacks even less viable than this Venezuelan attempt demonstrated. Adversaries face choice between accepting American naval superiority or investing massive resources in technology development that might eventually produce competitive capabilities. Decades in future, assuming American development stagnates, which shows no signs of occurring given continued American investment in next-generation defensive systems and weapons. The Venezuelan swarm attack will be studied in naval academies worldwide as definitive example of how not to engage American carrier groups and why asymmetric warfare requires more than courage and numbers when facing adversaries with overwhelming technological advantages in automation and sensors that render traditional saturation tactics obsolete against modern defensive networks.